Hey guys, Blockchain Patriot coming back at you here with another quick video. Hope you're all doing great today. I just want to jump on here real quick and just explain how big I really think this digital marketplace is going to be. All the tokens out there, it doesn't matter which one you like, whether it be XRP, XLM, XDC, right? HBAR, Cardano, Bitcoin. There's a multitude of different tokens out there to choose from. And I think a lot of them actually will serve use case in the near future, certainly shaping our landscape as we see the financial system being unraveled here on a rapid pace, I would say. And a lot of people get caught up in the whole market cap and understanding market capitalization when it comes to these tokens is very difficult because it doesn't work the same as traditional markets do. These are not companies. These are assets that will serve as a use to move the world's money. And so I wanted to show you guys this visualization. I'm pretty sure, you know, this has been around a little bit. Actually, it's been around a couple of years now. This was at the end of 2022. All of the numbers I'm about to show you have actually gone up, not down. And so I just want to show you. So when you think about market cap, and we'll just use an example. Let's use XLM, for instance. XLM has only 50 billion tokens. So 50 billion tokens might sound like a lot, but I'm going to show you here that how this visualization works is each square represents 100 billion dollars. And so I'm just going to scroll down here real quick and I'll just jump into some of the good stuff. We'll just say for fun, let's say that gold becomes tokenized. Okay. We're just going to say that, you know what, they're going to tokenize gold. If they did that, that's $11.5 trillion. That's a lot more than 50 billion tokens, okay? So you start putting this stuff together and you realize the prices that these tokens sit at today are very, very low. In fact, they're astronomically low. And I think anybody who's in this marketplace right now probably knows that they're early, not wrong for the most part, okay? But I'm just gonna run through this, okay? So you got $11.5 trillion of actual value that if that were put on a blockchain such as XLM or XRP or HBAR or any of the tokens out there, okay? Again, I'm just throwing out names of tokens, but there's so many different tokens and they're going to be used for different purposes, all right? And they'll be used for smart contracts and moving value and liquid value. So here we'll just go down a little bit further and we'll look at the S&P 500, $36 trillion. Okay, so we're already up to, what's that, 46, over 46 trillion, $47.5 trillion. And we haven't even looked at, you know, the global money supply yet, okay, which is another 48.9 trillion, which is the narrow money M1, but then there's the M2, which is another 82.6 trillion. Then we scroll down a little bit further and we start to look at the global debt at over $300 trillion. So when we really think about this for a second, the fact that the entire crypto space right now sits at under $3 trillion. Can you imagine where this is going? Can you see what's actually taking place behind the scenes? And make no mistake, okay, the globalists, they don't want you to figure this out. They don't want you getting involved in this, right? A lot of the fudsters out there, and we call the fudsters the people who just continue to promote fear, uncertainty, and doubt. And there's a lot of great channels out there that talk about this. But when you think about this marketplace, you have to realize how big all the money of the world is and all of the debt. And if we keep going down this chart here, we start to look at real estate, okay? $326 trillion in real estate. That's astronomical, okay? We keep going down. You got agriculture, you got commercial, You got household wealth. These are just literal belongings, okay? So if you tokenize everything, and I'm going to give you an example of that in a second, but if you start looking at this and you start looking at all the different stuff here, you got derivatives market of over 12.4 trillion, but then when you actually look at the notional value of the derivatives, it's over $600 trillion. That's a lot of zeros, guys, all right? So how big is this space when you really look at it? Well, the reality is, if it's only sitting at $3 trillion of actual market cap right now, imagine when all the world's money is all of a sudden put on blockchain. Imagine when everything becomes tokenized. So imagine you go into a car dealership today, you pick out a car, you drive the car, you go back into the office, and within 15 minutes, because of smart contracts and digital tokenization and blockchain technology and everything on chain, your information's on chain, all of your data's on chain, how much money you make's on chain, all of it's there, and they can instantly approve you and let you leave within 15 minutes with your new vehicle. That's the new world we're heading towards, and people can't wrap their head around it because it's so big. It is just astronomically beyond most people's scope of comprehension. Think about your house for a second. If you own a house, okay, even if you don't own a house, if you own a home right now and you have a $500,000 mortgage and it's worth $1 million, that means you have $500,000 that has equity that's sitting there. That means you're sitting in your home, you live there, and you have $500,000 that you cannot access or put to work unless you refinance, in which case now you have a bigger mortgage. So the only way to get your equity out is to sell that home. Well, think about if you start looking at tokenization, fractional ownership. Imagine you took that home and you said that that home was worth 100 tokens, okay? We're just going to use simple math. So 100 tokens, right, divided by that $1 million. So that makes every token, right, that you've just tokenized your home. We're just going to use the fact that you've tokenized it. Your entire house is worth $1 million, and you're going to divide that by 100 tokens, okay? That means each token's worth $10,000. So that means that 100 people, okay, well, probably not 100. You'd likely keep 50 of them yourself, but imagine 50 other people owning, right, a piece of your home. Let's say that they wanted a piece of that house because it's in a great neighborhood. It's going to go up in value, but they're the type of people who can't get in the market right now. They can't afford to buy a house for themselves, but they can afford $10,000 to take advantage of potential lift in your neighborhood. I'm just using that one example as a way to think about this. I think so many things can become tokenized. I think fractional ownership is the way of the future. I think that when they start to produce new movies, they're going to make it so that they can actually allow you to purchase tokens that give you part of ownership on the growth of what that movie does. So if it hits the blockbuster office and it does $100 million and you take part in some of that lift. So I believe the future is huge when you start to look at tokenization. So I just want to jump on here and just kind of get your head wrapped around the fact that this is so much bigger than most people think. And again, I don't care which token you think is going to be the one. In fact, I would argue all day long that there's going to be a handful of tokens that will be the ones, and they will all be interoperable, and they will all work together, and they will all serve a purpose. So I don't think that it's like we've got one or two winners and a bunch of losers here. I think we've got a multitude of winners, and I do think we're going to have some losers, but I think that a lot of people are going to be shocked at how much money these tokens need to be in order to move this value. I mean, you look at the numbers I just showed you here. These are monstrous numbers. So I'm sure people have done these types of videos before, but I just want to jump on quick and just give a perspective from my viewpoint and just show you what I thought was going on in terms of what we're looking at in terms of what's coming. So thanks for watching. If you watched to the end, please comment, like, and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.